The massive alien ship appeared over Seoul on a clear Tuesday morning. People stopped and stared at the silver disk that reflected sunlight like a mirror in the sky. Commander Kim was drinking her morning coffee when the alert came. "Commander to the command center immediately," said the voice over the speaker. Kim put down her cup and hurried through the halls of Earth Defense Headquarters. When she arrived, the room buzzed with activity. "Status report," she ordered. Dr. Park looked up from his console. "The ship appeared 20 minutes ago. No hostile actions. They're broadcasting a message on all frequencies." "Let's hear it," Kim said. The message played through the speakers. The alien voice sounded strange, with clicks and hums mixed with words. "People of Earth, we represent the Galactic Conclave, a union of space-traveling species. We welcome you to the wider community of intelligent life." 6 months later, Commander Kim stood on the bridge of a human shuttle approaching the massive Conclave station. Earth had sent her to lead the first official human delegation. Dr. Park sat beside her, nervously checking his notes. "Remember," Kim said, "they think we're newcomers. Primitive. We need to learn everything we can before revealing too much about ourselves." The shuttle docked, and the airlock hissed open. 3 aliens waited for them. The tallest had blue skin and 4 arms. The other 2 had gray skin and large black eyes. "Welcome," said the blue alien. "I am Ta, representative of the Exile Council. We lead the conclave." Kim bowed slightly. "I am Commander Kim. This is Dr. Park, our science officer." The aliens led them through wide corridors filled with different species. Some looked almost human. Others were completely strange. Floating gas clouds, insect-like beings, and creatures that seemed made of crystal. The conclave includes 247 species from 1,892 worlds, Tide explained. "You are the newest members." Dr. Park whispered to Kim, "Notice how they all watch us, like we're zoo animals." Kim nodded. She had noticed. Their quarters were comfortable but small. After settling in, they attended a welcome ceremony. Each human delegate presented a gift from Earth. When Kim offered Tai a small box containing an ancient pottery piece from Korea, the alien's reaction was strange. Tai's 4 hands shook as he examined the 8,000-year-old artifact. "This pattern, these symbols, is something wrong?" Kim asked. "No," Ta said quickly. "A surprise, that's all. Your species developed these designs independently." "Fascinating." Later, Dr. Park found Kim in the station's library. "Something's not right," he said quietly. "I've been granted basic access to their historical database. Look at this." He showed her images of alien artifacts next to ancient human cave paintings. The similarities were striking. "That could be coincidence," Kim said. "One symbol, maybe, but dozens, and their dating system puts their artifacts as more recent than ours." Kim frowned. "What are you suggesting?" "I don't know yet," Park admitted, "but I've requested access to more historical data." The next day, Kim met with the Conclave Council. 12 aliens sat in a half-circle, looking down at her from raised seats. "We are pleased to welcome humans to the stars," said a thin, tall alien with feathers. "Though you are young, we see potential in your species." "Thank you," Kim replied. "We're eager to learn." "Your technology is primitive by our standards," said another counselor. "But we can help you advance safely." Kim kept her face neutral. "We appreciate any guidance." After the meeting, she found Dr. Park in their quarters, his face pale. "What's wrong?" she asked. "I found something," he whispered. "Their language database. Kim, many of their oldest languages use root structures identical to ancient Earth languages." "That's impossible." "There's more. I found references to a restricted planet called Terminus 9. The files are heavily secured, but one image slipped through." He showed her his tablet. The image showed ruins with distinctly human proportions, doorways sized for human bodies, chairs designed for human spines, and on the walls, unmistakable human writing. How old? Kim asked, her voice barely audible. According to their dating system, about 100,000 years old. Kim stared at the image. We need to see this planet. They'll never allow it. It's listed as absolutely forbidden to visitors. Kim's eyes narrowed. Then we don't ask permission. Find us a way there, Park. I think we've just discovered that humans aren't new to the stars at all. In his private chambers, the exile counselor sent an urgent message to the High Council. Humans have arrived. They've begun asking questions. The ancient prophecy may be coming true. The creators have returned. Dr. Park couldn't sleep. For the third night in a row, he sat hunched over his tablet in the small quarters assigned to the human delegation. The blue light illuminated his tired face as he scrolled through files he had secretly copied from the Conclave archives. Commander Kim found him like this, surrounded by empty coffee cups. "You look terrible," she said, closing the door behind her. Park rubbed his eyes. "I had to double-check everything. Triple-check. I couldn't believe it." "Show me." Park pulled up a series of images. "These are cave paintings from Earth from around 30,000 years ago." He swiped to another set of images. "And these are what the Conclave calls the first texts of the exile people." Kim leaned closer. The patterns were nearly identical circular symbols with rays extending outward, humanoid figures with raised arms, and a distinctive spiral pattern. "This could be coincidence," she said. "That's what I thought." So I kept digging. Park pulled up more comparisons. Ancient Sumerian tablets next to alien religious artifacts. Egyptian hieroglyphs beside alien writing systems. "Kim, the oldest alien texts we found are copied from human writings, not the other way around." Kim sat down heavily. "What does it mean?" "I think humans were here first. Out among the stars. Long before these other species evolved." They both jumped at a knock on the door. Kim answered it to find Jun, their linguistics expert, looking excited despite the late hour. "Sorry to disturb you," Jun said, slipping inside. "But I've made a breakthrough with the exile language." "What kind of breakthrough?" Kim asked. "Their oldest dialect. It shares root structures with Proto-Indo-European languages. That's impossible unless there was contact." Park and Kim exchanged looks. "We need to see Terminus 9, Kim said firmly. "I think I've found a way," Park replied. "There's a supply ship leaving tomorrow. The manifests show they're short-staffed." 3 days later, disguised as maintenance workers, Kim, Park, and Jun stepped onto the surface of Terminus 9. They wore environment suits with tinted visors to hide their human features. The planet had a breathable atmosphere, but intense radiation from its twin suns. "Stay alert," Kim warned. "We have 6 hours before the ship leaves." They followed Park's stolen map to a restricted area marked as Historical Preservation Zone. What they found left them speechless. The ruins spread across the valley, half buried by time. But the proportions were unmistakable. Doorways sized perfectly for humans, steps at the exact height for human legs, rooms designed for human bodies. "These buildings were made by humans," Jun whispered. "Or for humans." Kim ran her gloved hand over a stone wall covered in faded symbols. "Can you read any of this?" Jun studied the markings. "It's like nothing I've ever seen, yet somehow familiar." "Give me some time." Park had wandered to a circular structure in the center of the ruins. "Kim, Jun, you need to see this." Inside the building, they found a chamber filled with strange metal pedestals. In the center stood a raised platform with a handprint carved into it. "What is it?" Kim asked. "Some kind of control room, I think," Park said. "And look at this handprint. 5 fingers, just like ours." Kim hesitated, then removed her glove. She placed her hand into the ancient impression. Perfect fit. The room hummed to life. Lights activated along the walls, and a holographic display appeared above the center platform. It showed Earth, but not the Earth they knew. This Earth had vast cities spanning continents, flying vehicles filling the skies, and massive structures reaching into space. "What are we seeing?" Kim whispered. "Earth," Park said. "But maybe Earth as it once was, long ago." Jun had been frantically scanning the symbols that now glowed on the walls. "I can make out some of it now. This says, Home Record or Archive of Home. And this part, it's a date. If I'm converting correctly, this recording is from 127,000 years ago." "That's impossible," Kim said. "Humans were primitive hunter-gatherers then." "According to our history books," Park corrected. The hologram shifted, showing human-like figures boarding massive ships. Then Earth growing smaller as the ships departed. Finally, it showed these same ships arriving at different worlds, including the one they now stood on. "We were spacefaring," Jun said, voice filled with awe. "Over 100,000 years ago." "But what happened?" Kim asked. "Why did we go back to Earth? Why did we forget?" As if in answer, the hologram changed again. It showed conflict, destruction, ships battling in space. Then, a final image, humans returning to Earth, their technology being buried or destroyed. "They went back," Park whispered. "They gave up the stars and returned to primitive life." "But why?" A sound outside made them freeze. Voices, alien voices, approaching the building. "We've been found," Kim hissed. "We need to leave. Now." As they slipped out a back entrance, Jun grabbed Kim's arm. "There was one more symbol I translated. A warning." "What did it say?" "They must never know we came first." They barely escaped Terminus 9, slipping onto the supply ship moments before departure. Back on the conclave station, Commander Kim gathered her team in their quarters, sealing the room and activating the jammers Dr. Park had built to block potential listening devices. "We need to understand what we found," Kim said. The small room felt crowded with 5 people. Besides Kim, Park, and Jun, they'd brought in scientist Min and security officer Han. "The ruins confirm humans were spacefaring over 100,000 years ago," Park said, displaying images he captured. "But why did we abandon everything and return to Earth as primitives?" Jun had been working through the night translating the symbols they'd recorded. "I've pieced together parts of the story," she said, dark circles under her eyes. "The ancient humans called themselves the First Ones. They discovered faster-than-light travel and colonized hundreds of worlds." "Including this one?" Han asked, pointing to a star map. "Yes, this conclave station orbits what was once a major human outpost." Min, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "I've been analyzing the medical database I was granted access to. The genetic structures of many conclave species show evidence of engineering. Some appear to have been created entirely." The room fell silent as they absorbed this information. "Are you saying our ancestors created these alien species?" Kim asked. "Some of them, yes," Min replied. "Others were primitive species that humans advanced through genetic modification. The Exile, for instance, show clear signs of extensive engineering." "That explains why they fear us," Han said. "We're not just another species to them. We're their makers." Jun continued her translation. "According to the records, humans ruled the stars for thousands of years. Then something happened, a conflict called the Sundering War." "Between humans?" Kim asked. "No. The texts mention an enemy from beyond the dark. Something that hunted the First Ones specifically." Park pulled up the final hologram images they'd seen. "These ships attacking human colonies, they don't match any known design. They're not from any conclave species. The enemy targeted human worlds, but largely ignored planets with non-human life," Jun explained. "Facing extinction, the remaining humans made a desperate decision. They returned to Earth," Kim said, understanding dawning. "Yes, they dismantled their technology, erased their history, and deliberately reverted to primitive existence. They believed that by hiding their true nature, they could survive." "A species-wide act of hiding in plain sight," Park whispered. "Incredible." Officer Han looked troubled. But why would advanced beings choose to become primitive? Why not fight? Jun scrolled through her notes. The texts suggest they tried fighting for centuries and kept losing. The enemy was patient, relentless. It would wait dormant for decades, then strike without warning. So our ancestors chose to play dead, Kim said, to appear primitive and non-threatening until the enemy moved on. Min had been examining the biological data more closely. There's something else. Human DNA shows signs of deliberate modification before the return to Earth. What kind of modification? Park asked. Our ancestors engineered themselves, accelerated our ability to adapt and learn. They compressed what should have been millions of years of evolution into a genetic package that would activate slowly over thousands of generations. They were playing the long game, Kim said, amazed. They knew they'd lose everything, but they built a path back. Jun nodded. The last entry I translated says, "We return to the cradle to be born anew. When we emerge again, we will be ready." A soft chime interrupted them. Someone at the door. Kim nodded to Han, who checked the security feed. "It's Tai," Han whispered, "the exile counselor." Kim straightened her uniform. "Let him in." Tai entered, his 4 arms held stiffly at his sides. He looked around the room, taking in the gathered humans and their displayed data. "I see you have been researching," he said, his translator giving his voice an odd flat tone. "We visited Terminus 9, Kim said directly. There was no point in denial now. Tai was silent for a moment. "Then you know that humans are the original spacefaring species, that we created or uplifted many of the conclave species." "Yes, we're beginning to understand." "What you don't yet know," Ta said, "is why this information has been suppressed." "Tell us," Kim demanded. "Because they're still out there," Tai replied, his blue skin darkening with emotion. "The Devourers, the enemy that drove humans back to Earth. They sleep, but they still hunt. And now that humans have returned to the stars." Tai's eyes fixed on Kim. "You've awakened them again." The Conclave's High Council chamber was packed with representatives from dozens of species. Commander Kim stood at the center, her team behind her. Across from her, 7 exile counselors sat on elevated platforms, looking down at the humans with expressions Kim now recognized as fear. "The human delegation has violated our most sacred laws," announced High Counselor Mun, his blue skin darkened to almost purple with emotion. "They accessed restricted sites without permission and have been spreading dangerous misinformation." Kim stepped forward. "It's not misinformation. Humans were here before any of you. We built this station. We created many of your species." A wave of murmurs swept through the chamber. Some aliens appeared angry, others frightened. A few nodded as if they had always known this truth. "These are lies," Mun shouted. "Guards, remove the humans from the chamber. They are to be confined to their quarters until transport to Earth can be arranged." Dr. Park stepped forward, holding up a small device. "Before you silence us, perhaps everyone should see this." He activated the device, and a holographic image appeared above them. The same recording they had found on Terminus 9, showing ancient humans building the first interstellar ships. "This recording is 127,000 years old," Park explained, "long before any current conclave species achieved spaceflight." The chamber erupted in chaos. Some representatives shouted for the images to be turned off. Others moved closer, fascinated. "Enough." Mun slammed his fist down. "This proves nothing." "Then explain why your sacred language is derived from ancient human Sanskrit," Jun challenged. "Or why the exile genetic code contains human DNA markers." Before Mun could respond, a tall, thin alien with gray skin and 6 eyes rose from the back of the chamber. "The humans speak truth," he said, his voice deep and resonant. "I am Jin, keeper of the true history. For generations, my people have preserved the knowledge of the creators, of humans." Guards moved toward Jin, but several other representatives from different species stood to block their path. "Many of us know the truth," said a small, golden-skinned being. "We have kept the old stories alive. The humans created us as companions, as helpers. They gave us the stars, and then abandoned us," Mun shouted. "No," Kim said firmly. "We didn't abandon you. We were hunted. We had to hide to survive." Officer Han, monitoring security channels through his earpiece, suddenly stiffened. "Commander," he whispered urgently, "multiple ships are undocking from the station. Exile military vessels." "Where are they heading?" Kim asked. "Toward Earth." Kim turned back to the council. "You're attacking our planet. After everything you've learned." Mun rose to his full height. "We must end this before it begins again. The Devourers respond to human thought patterns. Your return to space has already awakened some of them. If humanity reclaims its place in the stars, the Devourers will return in full force and destroy us all. So you'll destroy us first." Kim's voice was cold with anger. "A necessary sacrifice for the survival of all other species," Mun replied. Jin moved to stand beside Kim. "This is madness. The ancient texts say only the creators can defeat the Devourers. We need humans." As they argued, Dr. Park was quietly working on his tablet. He nudged Kim and showed her the screen. Across the conclave station and on planets throughout the sector, ancient systems were coming online, responding to authenticated human DNA for the first time in millennia. "It's already too late to stop us," Kim announced. "The safeguards our ancestors left behind are awakening. Systems that only respond to human commands." As if to confirm her words, the lights in the chamber flickered. The main display screens change, showing ancient human script scrolling across them. "What have you done?" Mun demanded. "Nothing," Kim said. "This station recognizes its original makers, that's all." From his security position, Han called out, "Commander, something's happening to the exile ships that launched. They've stopped moving." A new alien pushed through the crowd. A exile officer, his uniform indicating high rank. "High Counselor, our vessels are locked in place. All systems have switched to an unknown language. We cannot proceed." Mun turned back to Kim, rage and fear in his eyes. "Release our ships immediately." "I don't control this," Kim replied honestly. "Our ancestors built failsafes we're only now discovering." Jin stepped between them. "This is the sign of return mentioned in the ancient texts. The creators have come home, and the old systems recognize them." More alerts sounded throughout the station as long-dormant technologies activated across the galaxy. "You have a choice," Kim told Mun and the Council. "Work with us to prepare for the threat we all face, or fight us and face it alone. But know this, humans didn't evolve to be warriors. We were shaped to be survivors. And we've survived worse than you." The alarm woke Song from a deep sleep. She sat up in her bed in Busan, heart racing. It wasn't her phone alarm or the building's fire system. This sound came from inside her head. All across Earth, billions of people experienced the same awakening. In London, a teacher stopped mid-sentence as ancient knowledge flooded his mind. In Lagos, a doctor suddenly understood medical techniques never taught in any university. In Sao Paulo, a young girl began drawing complex star maps she couldn't possibly know. Humanity was remembering. Commander Kim stood on the bridge of a ship that hadn't existed a week ago. The vessel had assembled itself from hidden components buried beneath the Mariana Trench after she inserted a drop of her blood into an ancient artifact recovered from Terminus 9. Dr. Park worked at a control panel beside her, his fingers moving with a confidence that surprised him. "It's like I've always known how to fly this ship," he said. "The genetic memory is activating," Jun explained. She had spent days translating the flood of information from awakening systems across the galaxy. "Our ancestors encoded their knowledge in our DNA, set to unlock when we returned to space and encountered the old technology again." On the main screen, They watched as the HFY War fleet positioned itself in Earth orbit. 12 massive battleships, bristling with weapons. "They're still planning to attack," Officer Han said. "No," Kim replied. "They're afraid. Afraid of what comes next." She opened a communication channel. "High Counselor Mun, this is Commander Kim. Earth is protected by systems you cannot overcome. I urge you to stand down." Mun's face appeared on screen, his blue features tight with tension. "You don't understand what you're doing. The Devourers will sense your awakening. They will come for all of us. Then we face them together," Kim said, "as we should have done 100,000 years ago." Before Mun could respond, Jin's voice broke into the communication. "Commander Kim, our long-range sensors have detected something entering the galaxy at its outer rim. Multiple objects, moving faster than any known ship." Kim and Park exchanged glances. "The Devourers." "It appears so," Jin confirmed. "They've awakened sooner than the ancient texts predicted." Kim activated the ship's internal communication. "Min, are you ready with the translation of the defense protocols?" Scientist Min's voice came through clearly. "Yes, Commander. Our ancestors left detailed plans for this moment. There are hidden outposts throughout the galaxy with weapons designed specifically to fight the Devourers. And you can activate them. The safeguards our ancestors left behind are awakening. Systems that only respond to human commands." As if to confirm her words, the lights in the chamber flickered. The main display screens change, showing ancient human script scrolling across them. "What have you done?" Mun demanded. "Nothing," Kim said. "This station recognizes its original makers, that's all." From his security position, Han called out, "Commander, something's happening to the exidal ships that launched." They'd stopped moving. A new alien pushed through the crowd. A exile officer, his uniform indicating high rank. "High Counselor, our vessels are locked in place. All systems have switched to an unknown language. We cannot proceed." Mun turned back to Kim, rage and fear in his eyes. "Release our ships immediately." "I don't control this," Kim replied honestly. "Our ancestors built failsafes we're only now discovering." Jin stepped between them. "This is the sign of return mentioned in the ancient texts. The creators have come home, and the old systems recognize them." More alerts sounded throughout the station as long-dormant technologies activated across the galaxy. "You have a choice," Kim told Mun and the Council. "Work with us to prepare for the threat we all face, or fight us, and face it alone. But know this, humans didn't evolve to be warriors. We were shaped to be survivors, and we've survived worse than you." The alarm woke Song from a deep sleep. She sat up in her bed in Busan, heart racing. It wasn't her phone alarm or the building's fire system. This sound came from inside her head. All across Earth, billions of people experienced the same awakening. In London, a teacher stopped mid-sentence as ancient knowledge flooded his mind. In Lagos, a doctor suddenly understood medical techniques never taught in any university. In Sao Paulo, a young girl began drawing complex star maps she couldn't possibly know. Humanity was remembering. Commander Kim stood on the bridge of a ship that hadn't existed a week ago. The vessel had assembled itself from hidden components buried beneath the Mariana Trench after she inserted a drop of her blood into an ancient artifact recovered from Terminus 9. Dr. Park worked at a control panel beside her, his fingers moving with a confidence that surprised him. "It's like I've always known how to fly this ship," he said. "The genetic memory is activating," Jun explained. She had spent days translating the flood of information from awakening systems across the galaxy. "Our ancestors encoded their knowledge in our DNA, set to unlock when we returned to space and encountered the old technology again." On the main screen, they watched as the HFY War fleet positioned itself in Earth orbit. 12 massive battleships, bristling with weapons. "They're still planning to attack," Officer Han said. "No," Kim replied. "They're afraid. Afraid of what comes next." She opened a communication channel. "High Counselor Mun, This is Commander Kim. Earth is protected by systems you cannot overcome. I urge you to stand down." Mun's face appeared on screen, his blue features tight with tension. "You don't understand what you're doing. The Devourers will sense your awakening. They will come for all of us. Then we face them together," Kim said, "as we should have done 100,000 years ago." Before Mun could respond, Jin's voice broke into the communication. "Commander Kim, our long-range sensors have detected something entering the galaxy at its outer rim. Multiple objects, moving faster than any known ship." Kim and Park exchanged glances. "The Devourers." "It appears so," Jin confirmed. "They've awakened sooner than the ancient texts predicted." Kim activated the ship's internal communication. "Min, are you ready with the translation of the defense protocols?" Scientist Min's voice came through clearly. "Yes, Commander. Our ancestors left detailed plans for this moment. There are hidden outposts throughout the galaxy with weapons designed specifically to fight the Devourers. And you can activate them. With your authorization, yes. They respond to the genetic signature of human command." Kim took a deep breath. "Do it. Across the galaxy, on dead worlds and hidden moons, in the hearts of gas giants and the cold reaches of asteroid fields, ancient facilities hummed to life. Technology that had waited patiently for over 100,000 years activated, ready to serve its creators once more. On Earth, ordinary people found themselves drawn to specific locations, caves, mountains, deserts, where hidden entrances revealed themselves. Inside, they discovered control rooms, weapons, ships, and knowledge. Humanity's inheritance. The exile fleet, watching this awakening, began to retreat. "No," Kim broadcast to them. "Don't run. We need to stand together." For a moment, she thought Mun would ignore her. Then his ship turned and moved to position itself alongside the human vessel. "My ancestors serve yours," Mun said, his voice subdued. "The knowledge is returning to me as well. We were created to be your helpers, your companions among the stars." Other ships arrived, vessels crewed by species from across the conclave, all coming to join the defensive line. "They remembered too," Jin explained. "The genetic memory was planted in all species, though more deeply hidden in some than others." Dr. Park pointed to the display showing the approaching Devourers. "They'll be here within days." "We'll be ready," Kim said. She turned to her crew, seeing not just her human team, but also Jin, Mun, and representatives from a dozen other species. "Our ancestors made a choice to hide rather than fight. They weren't wrong. They ensured our survival. But they also prepared for this day, when we would stand together against the darkness." On the screen, Earth glowed blue and green. Across its surface, humans were awakening to their true heritage. Not conquerors, not gods, but guardians of life in all its forms. "We are the first ones," Kim said. "We created this family of species not to serve us, but to join us. And together, we will defend our home." The ship's engines pulsed with ancient power as they moved to meet their enemy. Behind them flew the combined fleet of the galaxy, children and creators united at last.